It, I think we are good. Let me just hit record. Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Hello.
I am so excited to have you here. Welcome. Hang on.
Hello.
Oh, it's recording. I've got to turn this volume. To have you here. There we go. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I've got that off. We're on here and we're live streaming in our Healthy, Happy People group. So I'm excited to have you here today, Sarah, tonight with us. Sarah, you have always been one of my favorites. You just a faith in our Isogenics team. And I just love your energy and your enthusiasm. And before this, when we got started here, I was talking to Sarah and we were talking about, I wanted to introduce her a little bit. Sarah lives in Arizona. You've been with Isogenics for how many years?
Going on 12.
12 years. So it's basically my whole career here. And what I love is that you have this balance of food and just the whole gamut of it. It's not just Isogenics. And you're telling me that you're in Arizona, you have 2 fur dogs. What breed of dogs do you have?
Oh, the best, the worst, French bulldogs.
Oh, I love Frenchies. Okay. I'm a dog girl, so that's another reason why I love you. But one of the things that you said to me was that, and I've always admired how beautiful you are and how physically fit you are. And you're just telling me that you have been so busy in the last 12 years that working out has been a low priority. And it just goes to show what a healthy diet can do, like how important that is.
Yes. And I'm actually embarrassed to say, but it is true. I am just getting back to regular, consistent exercise after about 12 years off. And not to say that I was sedentary, and I've always been that. I'm very fidgety. I'm always moving, I walk my dogs, but like a good old, gym sesh. No, I'm just getting back to it, which feels good. It feels great, right? Because we all know exercise feels really good and it's good for us. So I'm happy to report that, but it is kind of embarrassing.
Well, you look great. I didn't mean to out you here.
Yeah, but it happens. It's so true. Life happens. And especially when, you're busy, you're working 8 to 5, you work in an office, you got dogs you got to take care of. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day. I'm a perfect example of, yes, it definitely can happen where exercise just gets dropped low on the list.
Well, we have to be honest about it. So I wanted to say that. Well, here we are talking about sugar tonight. And I just want to kick off with saying what a confusing topic sugar is. Can I have it? Shouldn't I have it? Do I need it? No sugar, low sugar. So give us a little background on sugar. What
a loaded topic. And, as a nutritionist, it's funny, but it's not funny the way that sugar goes, right? Like there'll be periods where people are just so paranoid about it and they can't have any. And then other times, maybe you start using stevia in products and then people don't like stevia, so there's this balance, the sugar wars, it's never ending, and which is fine, because as we all should be consumed or are aware of how much sugar we are consuming. We should be consumed with it, but we should be aware of how much we're consuming, keeping it at a healthy amount. We really are bombarded with a lot of messaging that, sugar is terrible, sugar is evil, cut it on your diet, for good reason, because for a lot of people and just all the food that surrounds us day in and day out, it is too high in sugar. And it very much does lead to issues with your health, with your body, when you do consume too much sugar. So it's a valid case, but it's almost like the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater, because now then people end up very confused as to, can I have any sugar? All sugar is bad. What's healthy? What's not? So it's a very confusing topic, but I mean, hopefully what we can accomplish here is just, it doesn't have to be confusing. I mean, it really isn't. At the end of the day, sugar is a nutrient that we need for health, for our bodies to operate, our energy, our immune system, our brains, they all need it. But when it gets to be too much, then we have issues. So I really hope we can help people kind of, navigate these murky sugar waters.
So what are, we hear that all the time. I did a sugar detox myself, like I do occasionally. And what I find is that I don't even desire, I love sweets. I used to own a bakery. So, but when I detox from sugar, I could have a piece of cake. It's not revolting to me, but I can have a piece of cake. And I think that that is something that I hear a lot. People will start and then they can't stop. So there is a happy balance. And what kind of sugar does that to us? Is it
Yeah. Well, and there's no scientific or evidence definitive answer to that. I mean, there is some research showing that, early on in childhood, if we are exposed to more sweet foods, we do maybe develop more of a taste for those sweet foods, so that can, lead on later on in life, that we're always, wanting sweet. But also too, it does just go back to our physiology of, we need carbohydrates, right? Sugars are carbohydrates, and we do need some. So it's not necessarily a crazy thing that as humans, we do crave carbohydrate or sugar. But I think there too, it's like you always with sugar, it's never just sugar in a vacuum. Very rarely, right? You always have to look at the big picture. The big picture being, what else are you consuming with that sugar? What's the sugar coming in? How does your overall diet and calorie intake look like? Because here's the thing, in a lot of the sugar studies where they do find that sugar is damaging to our health and to our bodies, when they keep the calorie intake at or below what the individual needs, meaning that they're not over consuming calories, you don't see those issues. Right. So it really, you have to look at it in a big picture, not just, oh, I have to avoid any and all sugar because sugar is so bad for me. So I think, it's just, again, understanding kind of just the basic needs of our body, which we do need carbohydrates, we need sugar. Doesn't mean you need a ton, but you need some. And, also, I mean, as with most things, dose makes the poison. And something else too, and the reason why it is confusing, all the messaging we get, because I mean, even I just saw just recently in the media and health news outlets, reporting how, they look at population studies and they're still finding sugar intake is very high. So now we're going to get bombarded with these messages of, don't have any more than 25 teaspoons of sugar or X amount of grams of, but what they mean though is your extra sugars, if you will. They never distinguish between, well, we still want you to have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, which contains sugar naturally. Like, that's never part of the equation. It's really all the extra sugar that you have. And where it really gets confusing then is, so if you have somebody who they're eating healthy, somewhat overall, and let's say they go grab a snack bar or a functional beverage that they really like, that also is delivering, maybe some ashwagandha for stress relief or what have you. And they maybe focus in on the amount of sugar, like even though it's not a lot, they're adding it in towards their total intake. But it's like, well, if you're having that, let's say in place, you're having it for a snack, or a mid-morning something, and instead of an apple, not to bash apples are great, but instead of an apple, you're having this. In my mind, that's kind of, you're swapping one for the other. So you don't necessarily need to approach everything as added sugar. It's more all the things that you're having extra outside of healthy meals and snacks. And also too, I do think it's kind of intuitive. I think we all can tell if we are having too much sugar, because we are eating dessert every day with every dinner, or, the mini candy bars after Halloween, and we all of a sudden we just ate 15 shucks, or, I mean, I'm a sucker. Peanut M&Ms. I freaking love them. I mean, you can't live on them, but it's one of my perfect foods, peanut M&Ms. But I know you can't have the whole bag, right? So I think we all know the type of sugar eating that probably will get us in trouble, versus, if you're doing an all right job of eating a calorie controlled diet, eating good healthy foods and meals, it's okay to have a little bit, room to bend, if you will.
Gotcha. Gotcha. What kind of things do you think show up with? A lot of people think sugar just because, like you say, you're eating the whole bag. Well, maybe you're not, but you want to eat the whole bag of M&Ms. You know that's not good. Or you will see people like over putting so much sugar in their coffee. I have to do this when I walk into a Starbucks. You know, can I have 8 sugars? And I'm like, what? I just want to grab them. But you know, we understand that, but what are some things that, you know, we know that we're consuming too much sugar, but what are some physical things that getting sugar, a little sugar detox can help with? Like,
Oh
what are
yeah.
some other things other than weight? Because we know that if you drop your sugar, you're going to drop some weight, but what are some other symptoms?
Yeah, well, I think it varies, right, on the person and where you're starting, right, or where you're coming from, how much sugar you've been having. But I think, and also too, depending on exactly what types or sugary foods or beverages you are consuming. But I think anybody who really cuts it back, absolutely. I mean, yeah, weight loss may or may not happen. Again, it always depends on what else you're eating, your overall calorie intake. But you know, maybe less bloating, depending on, because a lot of times too, if you think about it, and with sugar or sweets that tend to get the best of us, you eat too much. So then, yeah, you do feel bloated. You might have a little tummy ache. Also, too, if you are eating the wrong types of sugary foods that really are only giving you sugar, sometimes fat, right? That usually causes a blood sugar crash, which, you know, then you're going to have the big drain in energy and want to take a nap. So I think people will find probably more energy throughout the day if they're not, you know, doing that type of sugary food or beverage intake. You know, that which could also lead to clear mental focus. I mean, there's a whole cascade of things that can happen, but it's all kind of related to just cleaning up your diet, eating less, and not overburdening it with all these, you know, sugary foods or sweets, beverages.
Right, right. And yeah, when you're saying that fatigue and whatnot, it is so tempting to reach for, I know when I'm tired, I'll do something healthy now, but it would be, I remember a day when I would be tired and driving along and pull into a convenience store and get Reese's peanut butter cups, you know, something like that for energy. But like you said, then there's the crash.
Yeah.
And it is probably, so would you say, you know, like an apple, something like that is a better solution? It probably doesn't seem like it when you're addicted to sugar and you're doing those kind of things,
Right.
right?
Well, apples have a hard competition, right? When it's, you know, if you're used to going and grabbing your Reese's peanut butters or peanut M&Ms or whatever, sometimes an apple can be a little boring. But, and I think that's where too, because so much of the diet, you know, whether it's our nutrition, how we eat, being able to, you know, not have too much sugar, a lot of it, it's a mental game, right? And getting in the mind space of you controlling it and not it controlling you. One of the things, I mean, because I'm a total, I love sweets. I was the kid, my mom would make a cake and this frosting that she made, I just loved it. And I'm such a little weirdo I was, but I would, when nobody was around in the kitchen, you know, and it's, you know, a good size frosting layer, I would go with a knife and I'd scrape just a little off.
No one
You know,
knew.
nobody would notice, but I would just sit there and I'd eat frosting. You know? So I mean,
Oh,
I get you. I know all about wanting the sweets, but of course, so it can take years of practice and failure too. I mean, I've definitely been there of overeating sugary stuff, but you know, I think you kind of settle into, you know, being able to be okay with it, enjoy it when it makes sense and when it's worth it. But you know, the meaningless, just doing it to do it, or because you might feel bored or down or whatever, it's just not worth it. It's not, because you do end up feeling like crap after, or it doesn't get you on where you want to be with your goals, your health goals, your weight goals, whatever it may be. So I think you just kind of learn that, you know, it is better to do it responsibly. And two, though, I will say, I mean, I still to this day, and it's funny, my partner and I, we go to, you know, lots of couples dinners. We're very social. We don't have real kids. We have dog kids. So we have lots of time to go out and whatnot. And we do. And I've noticed, it's my own theory, I think a lot of our friends, the husbands really like going with us because I'm always down for dessert. And I don't think their wives are. Like, I'm the only female in the group who's like, yeah, let's get a dessert, which I think is a great way. Like, if you are a dessert fiend, do it when you're with friends, because when you order one, you only get a couple of bites, right? And savor it, enjoy it. And know there will be a next time, right? There's always going to be a next time that you can enjoy it, but you don't overdo it. So a lot of the control and winning the battle, if you will, really is a mental game. But I think once you get there, it's a wonderful place to be, because you don't feel bad. You enjoy it when you do it. Again, paying attention to your bigger picture of how the rest of your diet and nutrition is, and balancing it all out. It's almost like effortless weight control, because you don't have to worry about it. It's not a thing.
Yeah, it is. Getting it under control has made a big difference. And I'm a dessert girl too. So I like to get all the desserts and then just pass it around the table so everyone gets a bite of all the desserts. I've been known
Yes.
to do that. Yeah, it's
Right?
just
And you can't do it every time, right? You can't do it every time.
no.
But like, again, and that's where, like, sugar detoxes are great, but I'm not, and again, whatever works for the individual, more power to you, go for it. But personally, I'm not a fan of, like, okay, let's do a sugar detox and you have to cut out all fruit. You can only have these leafy greens, and, you do that for a week or so, and then gradually you add back in. I'm just not a fan of anything that's too crazy restrictive or too different from how you'd normally eat. I mean, I'd rather approach it like, let me get my mental game strong and figure out how I need to approach it so that I can just, control it and do it responsibly, rather than just this crazy restrictive diet. Because again, that's hard to, not a lot of people have time or desire for that. Now, not to say though, if it is getting out of hand and you do need to do a little detox, absolutely cut out the desserts or cut out the sweets. Absolutely do that for a month. You absolutely will probably feel better. But you don't have to go so crazy as like, oh, I can't have this fruit because it's got too much sugar. Because there too, going back to what else is the sugar coming with? Because in desserts, in beverages, it's coming usually either by itself or coupled with fat or salt, right? Depending on what it is. But when you're eating a banana, an apple, you're also getting fiber. You're getting other nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and the other phytonutrients within the plant that are also good for you. So, again, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to sugar.
It kind of balances it out. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So we are offering a sugar detox. We're going to be doing 3 of them, 3 11-day sugar detoxes. We're going to stagger them out. And what we're finding is when we do a sugar detox, people will feel great and have great results, and their friends are jealous if they didn't hop in with them. And then the next one, so we're doing 3, so then people can bring their friends to the next one and so on. Now, explain to us what is good about our cleanse juice, and I'm sure there's a little bit of sugar in there too, right?
Oh yeah. Right.
But yet, even though when I do that, I am cured of wanting, of course, but it kind of breaks that cycle. If you're in a cycle, I love to do it after Christmas, when I've been off the rails on Christmas cookies. I'm not really a big Halloween person, but Easter, we have a lot of cakes and pastries and things like that. So explain like how that just 2 days, which we're going to be doing 2-day cleanses in this 11-day program, how that can just set you on the right path.
Yeah, no, and it is. I mean, our system, which is basically a combination of intermittent fasting or cleanse days, and very nutrient dense, protein rich meal replacements, works very well. It does. And there's a few different reasons. And then for one, I mean, we definitely have a lot of clinical science to show that. And in fact, in at least most or 2/3 of the studies that have been done on the system, they do look at people's sugar intake before they follow the system and then after. And every time sugar intake is cut by half. So we know it's a system that helps people cut it down. But I think part of the reason why it is so effective is because it is a system. And a lot of times, a lot of people, myself included, You need help sometimes with a regimen or with kind of a starting point to get you where you need to be. And you also need the guesswork taken out. And that's where like our shakes, right? Having 2 shakes for 2 of your meals, or whether it's 1 shake for 1 meal of your day, it really does a lot in just taking the guesswork out. It's perfect portion control. It satisfies you. It fills you up. It doesn't overfill you. So it gets you used to that feeling of not overeating, which I think, I mean, forget about sugar. We all need help with that, of just learning how to eat to not overeat. So I think the shakes, just again, being perfectly portioned, they do that. And then the more people use those shakes, it becomes muscle memory, and they find that they're able to better control their appetite or how much they eat at non-shake meals. And then also fasting. I mean, and fasting kind of works in a couple different ways. One of the ways is going back to that, if you think about the big picture, and if you are one that, okay, I'm going to allow myself to have dessert or indulge in my little sweet tooth here and there, but having a system where then you're also doing some cleanse days or intermittent fasting, if you think about your calorie intake over the course of the week, doing that 1 or 2 days a week is really going to help keep your overall calorie intake for the week low, or where it needs to be, so that you don't gain weight. And that even though you still maybe enjoy dessert or whatever, you're able to keep it in balance. So it helps with the big picture. But then also fasting, cleanse days, it is, even though some people are like, wait a minute, how does not eating reset your appetite? But it does. It really does reset your appetite hormones. And it just cues you much better into your body's own natural cues. Another way to put it, and I think our system really does help people with this, and I'm a huge fan of it, is intuitive eating. It's definitely something that you can Google it. I mean, and it's intuitive. It sounds like what it should be, but basically it's kind of not really going for all the crazy tracking and, counting everything, more listening to your body, being able to tell that, okay, I'm hungry. I need to fuel my body, and I know when to stop, or I know how to, not overeat. But then also knowing, even if maybe I do get a little bit hungry mid-meal, I don't need to rush to have something. My body can handle this. Hunger comes in waves. It will go until I have my next meal. So it helps people reduce their overall intake because their appetite kind of gets a reset. So I think that can help in multiple ways. And then also too, let's talk about stress, because stress is a big factor, and especially when it comes, right? Because eating is not just for fuel anymore. We all have to deal with food as a emotional tool, right? And that when we're lonely or sad, we can cover our feelings with food. So if you're less stressed and supporting your body in that regard, you probably will be less likely to, again, get bummed out and go grab a cupcake. So all of those things I think come together with our system, and why we do see people have such success with it, and really in long term, not just like as a 30-day follow it, but taking the parts of it and making it part of their lifestyle. Whether it is always having a shake a day, doing normal cleanse days once or twice a month, using some of our stress supportive botanicals that we have that really do arm the body with being better to handle stress. All of those things really do come together quite nicely. And then also the clinical research that we have. I mean, we do have a lot of clinical research showing just how well this system does work.
Right. I must say it's been 11 years since I've been using the program, and I'm an ultra marathon runner. So running 60 plus miles a week, you would think that I could eat anything I wanted and that I would be at my perfect weight, but I wasn't. And when I started, I dropped 10 pounds, and it's been 11 years, and I haven't had to revisit that. So it is I'm not always doing the whole system A to Z,
No.
but I've been using the products, and it's nice to know that there is this easy system that just zaps that as well.
And then also too, I do want to point out, which, whether or not we did this on purpose or not, but the shakes, they taste good. And they especially, oh my God, some of our limited edition flavors. I mean, they taste like a dessert. Like for mine, I want mine like a milkshake because I like milkshakes, but I love even more this shake that's a meal that has great protein. It's got fiber, it's got fat, it's got vitamins, it's got minerals. I mean, it's a perfect meal, but yet I feel like I'm drinking a milkshake. that will do a lot for you, or somebody, if you have a lot of cravings, but that will help you, satisfy that, but yet you're doing it in a healthy way. So that's another
Right.
big factor too.
I have a question. So in the beginning, when some people will get started and they'll have a shake and they won't enjoy it. They won't like it because it's not sweet enough. And there is some sugar in our shakes, but it's a good sugar, right?
Right.
But people won't enjoy it at first. And then they do our detox days and then they have a shake and they think it's the most amazing thing they ever had.
Yeah.
What is the science behind that?
Well, that could be, I mean, for somebody who does, I mean, for somebody who feels that shakes aren't sweet enough, I would say you've been living a sugar sweetened life. Because I mean, I don't, our shakes aren't overly sweet, but they definitely do have some sweetness to them. And yeah, no, I mean, with all of our products, we always sweeten flavor responsibly. And we use sugar, we use stevia, we use some natural non-calorie sweeteners. But we're kind of settling on a mix of using the lowest sugar we can, but then also using these other ones to help round it out. Because yeah, you run into now people are like, oh, I can't have stevia. Maybe I don't care about as much about that 0 grams of sugar. I just want it to taste good and normal and not have a weird aftertaste. So it's like, okay, well, what about just a little bit, a gram or two of sugar, but then rounding it out with others so that it does taste really good. And it is sweet, but it's not overly sweet. So for somebody who thinks it's not sweet, I would say, yeah, you definitely need to come off the sugar. But not surprising though, after doing a cleanse day or a fasting day, because again, it's like their appetite is already starting to reset, right? They're finding that it is actually sweet enough. So yeah, because that does happen, especially to people who have a lot of artificial sweeteners, because they're so much sweeter than sugar. Those types of folks usually have a harder time coming off of that as well, because they are just so used to it. And I'm talking about people who have a lot. I mean, having a Diet Coke or whatever artificially sweetened product here and there, probably okay. But for people who have, like 6 to 10 Diet Cokes in the morning and, they're always filling up their thing, that's when it really does sometimes become an issue. And then you might have a hard time not having as sweet as foods. For initially, right? Because the taste buds will reset. They always do, but it can take some time. So again, dose makes the poison. You gotta look at the big picture. And then again, just knowing that with time, your body will adapt and will change for whatever you're going for.
Right. Good. Well, I think we got through all the things. Is there anything else we should wrap it up with?
Yeah, well, again, I think just you don't need to be afraid of any and all sugar. You can be aware of it, but you don't need to be paranoid. Especially too, again, if you're going back to like shakes like ours, you're not getting just plain sugar, you're getting protein, fat, fiber. All of our shakes are low glycemic, meaning that they don't cause an unhealthy rise in blood sugar, which that's really the big issue when it comes to the sugar intake, is the havoc it can wreak internally. So nothing to worry about. And again, overall, even outside of, isogenics, just living life, enjoy it. Don't fret. Always too, every day is a new day. We can always start fresh and have that new opportunity to get it right. And yeah, just, don't sweat the small sugar stuff. It's not worth it.
I'm going to share my screen real quick. And I am going to show, hopefully it's here somewhere. Oh, let me pull it up. Okay. Well, I can't seem to find it. I had it all set up before. 1 second. Everyone here knows me. They can bear with me. Here we go. All right. I am going to hopefully, well, here we go. All right. Can you see that? So this is our sugar detox that we are offering for our 3. How does it look to you, Sarah? Does it look good? We're going to do a 9-day system. You could either have a plant-based shake or the whey-based shakes. I'm a whey-based girl. I love it. I love the snack bites, the adaptogen elixir, and the isoflush. So you're getting that whole system. And when we say it's a 9-day, it's actually 11 days it lasts for. So you're getting all the products that you need for the whole shebang. And but I must say those little candy kebabs at the bottom look so good.
No, give me chocolate.
I don't know why we did that.
Chocolate all day long. But no, and those cinnamon, the snack bites, I love the cinnamon snack bites. For again, when I'm wanting a sugar or a treat hack, if you will, I would like something sweet, but I don't want to eat, you know, a cupcake or whatnot. Those really do the trick. And those
They
are
save
not
the
overly
day.
sweet at all, but that cinnamon, I just, it's delicious. It really
Save the day. And you can have those on a day when you are fasting, which I love. So you're not really fasting, but you're taking in so many less calories. And then when it's done, I still crave the sugar, the snack bites. I
Yeah.
love them after I'm done with the detox. So this is the detox that we're offering. And then we're just going to have everyone go back to the person that invited you here. And remember, if you bring on a couple of friends that want to get started with you, and maybe they're not doing the first one with you, but when you go first and they see how you feel, then you could come on and bring some friends on and you will get $145 back.
Pretty good deal.
So you can buy your next system as well. But you are awesome, Sarah. You are really, I just have to say, I think the best part for me tonight was chatting with you and finding out that you're going back to the gym, because I've always admired you have muscles and great physique, and it's because you eat. And if you don't know Sarah, if you've ever seen her in person, she has the most beautiful, flawless skin. She's just so beautiful. And it is a testament to clean eating. And you've really devoted, that's your career, nutrition. So it's so important to you and it shows.
Right. Well, and partly too, let's not forget, I do have some genetics on my side. So thanks, mom and dad. And I was an athlete all my childhood, adolescence, into my 20s. So as long as my body fat is down, I look like I have a big muscle. But I'm smart enough to know we need regular exercise. You need to sweat it out. So I am excited. But thank you.
You do. I'm excited for you too, because I know how good that feels, especially up here.
Yeah.
But thank you, Sarah, for joining us tonight. And everyone, get back to the person that invited you here. And if you have questions below and there's something we can't answer, I will get in touch with Sarah and get an answer for you.
Here for you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. Have a great night.
You too.